This week in our collective heads, wanna put an old rumor to bed. Stereotype that you've all heard, how we're all just angry video game nerds. Most of us have actual jobs, kids and families and cats and dogs, yeah. This week in our collective heads, this week in our collective heads.
Welcome to This Week in Our Collective Heads. I'm Patrick, and I'm joined by Kevin as in a disembodied voice in this episode. If you're listening on the podcast, it's kind of the same with lesser quality audio. Hang in there. We're going to get better. We're working on a remote setup right now. But this is the gaming news, is what you always come here to listen to us talk about gaming news. The best gaming news on the planet, in my opinion.
Delivered by spectral voices. Ooh.
So this week was a little sparse. Again, apologize about the video and audio quality. We're going to get better at that. Working with remote setup has had a lot of speed bumps that we expected and did not expect, and broken lights and all kinds of fun things. But let's get on to some gaming news. The Nintendo Switch has sold 10 million units so far since March, which everyone's been comparing that to the PS4, and I think that's a little unfair.
No, compare it to the Wii U. I mean, they are
Exactly.
3 million units away from outselling the Wii U over
Correct.
what, 3.5 years?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's amazing. This is a clear example, or a clear a proof of concept that the Nintendo Switch is exactly what people wanted.
It is.
It's what a lot of people thought the Wii U was going to be, but it wasn't.
Exactly. And Nintendo for the past couple generations have been playing their own, since after the Nintendo 64, Nintendo has been playing in their own ballpark. You know, it's not, they're not competing against Xbox and PlayStation anymore. They're kind of off on their own because most people who consider themselves big gamers have one of those consoles or PC and a Nintendo. People buy Nintendo products for the first party games and some third party stuff. Switch is showing not only the first party stuff is great, but the handhelds are still a thing in the world of mobile gaming. People still want a real console. And it completely shows when you see how people are using it. The majority of people use it in both handheld and docked. But if the people who only use it docked or only use it mobile, people use it handheld more than people use it just strictly docked. It proves that we're still good with, we still would want to play on the go gaming, and we want to play proper games on the go. We don't want to play, or at least not we, but a lot of people don't want to just play Bejeweled or other games. They want to play full-fledged games out on the go. I'm playing Skyrim, while I'm waiting in the DMV, and that's pretty amazing.
And like Skyrim and Doom show that that honestly, like, as long as you get the basic gameplay, we've reached a point, because like the jump from PlayStation to PlayStation 2 is huge.
Yeah.
The jump from the Xbox 360 to the Xbox One is gigantic. But we've reached a point where computing power is substantial enough that we can have, when you can play Doom and Skyrim and Breath of the Wild and all these games via a system that you can just pick up and take with you.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been visual comparisons, and Digital Foundry did a piece where it was like the PC with max settings versus the I think they did PC versus PlayStation versus the Switch version of Doom. And it was like, it's a little fuzzy in the background, but you're still playing Doom.
Yeah. Skyrim has blooming issues that people complain about, because as you're walking forward in a forest, you start to see the foliage literally start to bloom out, where it wasn't before. But at the same time, I've not had frame rate issues. I've not had battle issues in battles where I've had frame rate issues that caused me to have any issues. The frame rate has been stable the whole time. I've been able to go through all the quests. I had The only issues that I had were issues that I've already had with Skyrim, where you're talking to an NPC and they say, "All right, follow me," and then they just stand in a doorway.
I mean, those are
It's a Bethesda thing.
not to be mean, but those are Bethesda issues,
It
not
is.
Switch issues.
It is, but the game overall is so amazing, and the rest. I mean, that's just talking third party, but the first party, third party, everything has been solid for Switch, and I think this proves that how gaming is going to go forward. That mobile gaming, while it is a moneymaker, is not going to replace mobile. It's not going to replace gaming on the go as a handheld. Mobile gaming is different.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think that the Pokemon, the next Pokemon game is going to come out on Switch instead of 3DS, and I think the next year is going to be the where the 3DS dries up. Everything's going to move over to Switch because people are seeing now that Nintendo already knew. They were saying that they were going to continue to support 3DS. I think towards the end of the next year, we're not going to have any more 3DS games. Everything will be on Switch.
So.
Yeah, I mean, it's Switch takes the place of the 3DS and takes the place of the Wii U in a beautiful way. The only problem is that the price point is a little higher. Nintendo wants to have a Switch in everyone's hands, not a Switch in everyone's living room. They want every member of a family who games to have a Switch, which could be great if you could transfer your save games.
Like you said, the price point is higher than the 3DS or the Wii U.
Yeah.
But it's like you said, it is replacing both, and it is a handheld as well as a home console, and it's versatile in a lot of ways that we just haven't seen before.
Yeah, and the fact that you can dock. Go ahead.
The Nintendo Switch is just proof that the Nintendo model is working. There was so shout out to the Captain Redbeard stream from last week. They had a debate on whether the Switch counted as the PS4 generation or if it's the start of the next generation. And it's just this weird thing that's just sitting out in the middle of everything, and it's wonderful.
Yeah,
because
I think that
Nintendo
it's
being Nintendo.
It is.
They successfully they constantly innovate, and they frequently succeed.
Yeah.
The Wii U was a step too soon, and they weren't able to do. Obviously I wasn't in the rooms, but I would imagine that this was much more of a, we'd like to do this and we can't do all of it. And so what they compared it to on the Redbeard stream, and I think is fairly accurate, is the Wii U is kind of a beta version of the Switch.
Yeah,
because
in a lot of ways it is.
You can play it handheld ish.
Yeah.
And then the Switch is what we actually wanted.
Yeah.
It's like, come back when you have all the features and we'll buy it then. And
that's basically what it was. We're buying it because the Switch does what we thought the Wii U was going to do. It's more of a powerhouse in a smaller package. And I think that they could have done the Switch earlier on. They could have done the Switch instead of the Wii U, maybe a year or so later. But the pricing, because of the hardware cost, the pricing would have put it way too out. It would have been like buying a cell phone. And buying a cell phone now, $600 to $1,000. That makes it really hard to justify a console that you don't know you don't know how often you're going to use it. I know that the Xbox One X is $500, and if you are going to use it, if you're going to play 4K gaming, if you want to do 4K Blu-ray, it's excellent. But that's they already have a base that's going in there. For mobile phones, you already have people who are saying, okay, well, this is going to be my device. Mobile phones became what we thought PDAs were going to be back in the 90s, where everyone was going to have this little assistant, digital assistant. Now we have phones that do everything for us, and I think that the Switch fills a gap. It fills a gap that some people knew they needed and some people didn't. I've talked to a lot of people who didn't think they wanted to play a handheld console, but when you have it so quick to get onto a big screen, and to flip back and forth. Or I have a friend of mine, the husband and wife, they both have a Nintendo Switch. They have a dock in the living room. They have a dock in the bedroom, and you can dock a Switch to any dock. It's not paired, so they don't have to worry about, oh, is this yours? Is this mine? Oh, the living room one is for this. No, you just put your Switch on there and play. It's so smooth, and I love it. So I'm going to go on to something else because we keep talking about Switch forever. But Ni no Kuni 2 has been delayed till March 23rd, and because this is in the realm of art, I'm fine with this. I know you keep hearing us say this on the show, but delays aren't always bad.
They moved back. This is so.
This is what, the third time?
I think it's only the second, because they just had kind of a vague general, yeah, it's coming out in 2017, and then they kicked it back to, it's coming out in 2018 this date, and then they bumped it back. And yeah, my only issue with it is this puts it 1 week before Far Cry 5 comes out because of that game's delay, and because we do the big ones we don't get early. And Ni no Kuni 2 and Far Cry 5 are two that I'm absolutely planning on buying. And I do think it's kind of funny because last year, or I guess this year, two of my most anticipated titles were Neo and Horizon Zero Dawn, and they came out within a month of each other, and then I waited for a little while. And most games I can wait for a sale, but like Ni no Kuni 2 and Far Cry 5, I'm gonna buy immediately.
I think that you're in a strange bit of the Venn diagram on Ni no Kuni 2 and Far Cry 5. I don't think, and I put myself in a similar diagram, but a Venn diagram. But Horizon Zero Dawn. I think that the player base for each of those is there's a big player base for each of those, and there's some crossover, but not a ton. It does put you in a kind of a precarious situation, especially for March. But spring, February, March have become a new release window that everyone's been trying to target, because if you hit too close to Christmas, or if you go too soon around the new year, like early January, you miss out on the budget of people who are buying stuff for Christmas. So you push it over to mid to late February or March, and that's the next good window budget wise. It is unfortunate, but I'm happy about it. I'll be honest, I'm going to buy Far Cry. I'm probably not going to buy Ni no Kuni. I may buy it later, but I really can't foresee myself buying it right now. I'll probably...
The other thing is that I think that'll probably be around the time... like Red Dead 2 is coming out around that time too, maybe a little bit earlier. And so March, like you said, March has become it's the second November.
It is.
And it works out nicely because that gives us something to play over the summer and things like that. But yeah, I am a little bit more concerned about Far Cry 5 because that's been pushed back to right at the end of the fiscal year. And I actually trust Japanese companies more than I do, American companies, even Ubisoft, because Ubisoft had an amazing year this year. Like everywhere that EA screwed up, Ubisoft came in and they did things well. Like they took the year off for Assassin's Creed, and Origins is a vast step forward in that franchise. But so when Far Cry 5 is coming out right at the end of the fiscal year, it seems to me like they said, well, we still need to release this in the fiscal year, but you have another month. Whereas Ni no Kuni, I feel like I have a lot more faith in them because investors in the Nikkei Index have a greater tendency to have faith in what they have, where the American market, I don't do a whole lot in stock speculation, stuff like that, but there seems to be a lot greater faith and trust in the Nikkei Index than in the American stock market.
No, you're exactly right. You're exactly right.
So,
It's not as volatile
And so
at all from an investment standpoint.
I'm actually going to wait for the reviews on Far Cry, but Ni no Kuni is still a day one purchase because that game was amazing. I played through it with the girls, and that's something that like we were able to have discussions about some of the stuff that was going on. And now that they're older, I'm really looking forward to see what kind of new discussions we get to have around this thing that is it's cutesy and everything, but it handles Ni no Kuni handled some really intense topics.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to seeing how this one, because it's a monarch coming back to his throne, trying to reclaim his kingdom. I think the girls are old enough that we can have discussions around the idea of the pursuit of power and what I don't know.
No, I agree.
Kuni is amazing, and I can't wait for the second one. So regardless, I'm gonna buy it, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. Speaking of things you're going to buy, Darkest Dungeon's getting an expansion. Which
yes,
I love Darkest Dungeon. I know that you've been playing this off and on since release. I think that it's one of the most unique games that I've played in quite a long time. The way that it not only to dungeon crawl, but to deal with stress levels and different quirks of individuals who become kleptomaniacs or afraid of the dark and everything. It's beautiful, and I love that this is getting an expansion. What details do we have on that? Do you have?
Okay, so this is the third expansion because the Crimson Court came out at the beginning of 2017. Shieldbreaker came out a couple of months ago, and that was mostly just a new character. This one is called The Color of Madness, and the quote from Red Hook says, quote, "Some hateful shard of alien origin has streaked through the night sky, crashing into the old miller's farm on the outskirts of the hamlet. Those unfortunate enough to witness the comet's arrival have been blinded by what they can only describe as a shifting, ephemeral hue of damnably abrasive intensity. There has been no word from the farm in a fortnight, save for the unearthly groaning that echoes from the ruin of the mill." So they have a new type of currency, which is called comet shards. It's a new quest type thing. It's more story.
Yeah.
You get new enemies and stuff like that. And one of the things that it's talking about is a quasi competitive, like, see how far you can go before you have to drop out. And so it's kind of like an endless or horde mode from Gears of War, and it's really exciting. And the release window is kind of a bit confusing, so I'll go through that real quick. Okay. So the Shieldbreaker DLC is out now, as well as the Crimson Court is out everywhere, and then Crimson Court and Shieldbreaker are coming to iPad soon, so I would imagine it would be kind of the same as far as that goes, because Red Hook sees where their audience is, and their audience is first PC, and then PS4 and Vita, and then they're expanding into the iPad market. And so, and then they're looking to release early in the new year Crimson Court, Shieldbreaker, and the regular game to Switch, which is exciting because everything, the way we used to have the and Vita, now we have and Switch, and so I'm really excited for people. Anybody that has a Switch, I highly recommend that you go ahead and pick this up, because this is a unique twist on the RPG genre that takes into account a lot more depth into the characters, and you feel for them, and my relationship with RNGesus is it's rough, as it always is, but God, I love it. And so I'm really looking forward to this, and seeing what more they can do with this system, this story, these characters that die on a regular basis. And
it's an ever revolving.
I'm excited about that. Yeah, I'm very excited about that coming out soon.
Yeah, I'm excited for more people to be trying Injustice 2, because Injustice 2 is right now, you can try it for free as we're recording this and through Monday night. I'm really glad that they're putting that out there, the trials to get into these games, because the Injustice fighting games have been great. I mean, this is the Mortal Kombat team.
Yeah,
it's the fighting is good. It is. I like the fighting. I like the unique creativity with the characters and bringing DC characters into this. But the story is just wonderful in Injustice and Injustice 2. So if you haven't played it, go play it for free right now.
And if you enjoy it, I really like when they do this. It's on a trial through Monday. It's also on sale for half price on PC, PS4, and Xbox through Tuesday.
So if you like it, grab it.
Exactly, and your progress carries over. And this is how you do a demo.
Yeah.
This is what we keep talking about. You can play through the first three missions of the or the first three sections rather of the single player, and you can try out multiplayer. And yeah, that's how you do a trial and how you get people to buy your game, because yes.
That's exactly how you get it. Speaking of trying games, if you haven't played Oxenfree is a great story-based, kind of dialogue-based game with some puzzles, not really too difficult of puzzles.
Yeah, but
it's a game that I love.
It's more about the dialogue and the characters and going through the story and making decisions that way more than from a gameplay perspective.
Yeah, and in my opinion, they do it better than Telltale because in regards to the character depth, but we could go into that at a different story. But the Night School, who did Oxenfree, is coming out with a new game, After Party. And After Party is it's a pub crawl between two friends who end up in hell together, and it's a pub crawl where where the end goal is to get to Satan's private party. And it sounds hilarious. In drinking games, in every bar, having a unique, not only unique things to do, but unique layout, unique characters. I can't wait for this. It's so inventive.
It's still very early. So the only date that they've given us is 2019. But one of my other favorite things about this particular title is it has a dedicated drink button. The drink button is always available. You have dialogue options or movement options or choices as far as that's concerned. Yeah. But the drink button is always there, and that is hilarious and wonderful.
I hope that it affects your character and it affects your dialogue and that it affects everything.
And I believe that it will, because in Oxenfree, like, when you respond to a character is almost as important as what selection you pick, because you can interrupt people, you can walk away from people, and so I feel that they will do well on kind of handling, well, you chose to drink in the middle of this person's sentence, and drinking is a lot less rude than interrupting, and so I'm really looking forward to that, and that looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to playing more PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds, actually playing it at all. With the move and everything, my gaming has been nil, but PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds is on Xbox One X and Xbox One. This is still the trial period where this game that people have been playing for like a year is still not quite officially released.
Yeah, and they put it out, a couple of weeks before the end of the year, so people can buy it for Christmas or whatever. Based on, like, I've watched a couple of streams and I've heard a couple of the discussions of people who like transferred from PC to Xbox. They wanted to play it on consoles or whatever. Yeah. But like, there are a lot of issues with it. Yep. And I was talking about earlier with the release of Far Cry 5, being right at the end of the fiscal year, and my suspicions about that. When Microsoft announced this, they said it's coming in 2017, and honestly, I feel like that they just released it as is. I know that it's an early access game or whatever it is that they call it on what is it? Game preview.
Yeah, they call it game preview, but it's a $30 game preview. I'm on the site right now. It's $30 game preview. It's still one map. It's still one map.
Yeah, and whenever they release the full game, you'll get all the ups for free, and so you're going to get the desert map. And whenever they release 1.0, you won't have to pay what I imagine will be $60.
Yeah, I'd imagine it'd be
actually
that.
Releases.
Mm-hmm. So the frame rate on the Xbox One is around. Visual Foundry did something. I'll put up a video of, and it's between, I think it's 15 and 18. And Xbox One X is still around 26 to 30 frames or so. So it's, I know that this is the Xbox One Enhanced Edition. This is the 4K. This is the optimized version. It's supposed to be 4K Ultra HD with UHD, but I don't care if it was 1080p, 60 frames a second. That's all I need for this type of game, for the amount of objects on screen, for the people, for the make sure I don't have any lag in regards to my processing, in regards to playing with multiple people. As much as I love 4K, and I'm absolutely loving 4K gaming, I don't need it for this if you can't get your frame rate high enough. If your frame rate on an Xbox One, not the X, but the Xbox One, is 15, that's unplayable.
Well, the other thing about that is, I'm not going to go too deep into technicalities, but it's the idea of hit scan versus projectile, and PUBG is projectile, and so whenever you fire a bullet, it actually creates that bullet in the game and is like, okay, the bullet's going this way, and then it's going to drop a little bit, and so like. Frame rate lag is unacceptable because you don't have it's not you point at the other guy's head and shoot. It's not you point at where the other guy's head is going to be and then shoot.
Correct.
And that is you cannot do that with 20 frames a second.
Yeah,
like that's just exactly not possible. And so it's a different game than it is on PC, because on PC, if you get good, you can lead characters, you can dodge, evade, whatever. And so what it's come down to on Xbox One is people just get into cars and drive around because nobody can hit anybody in the car unless they have like a full spray and pray type Uzi. And so it is fundamentally a different game because of the limitations that have been put on it.
Exactly.
So I really don't think that this is a good place to jump in until it comes out for real.
Yeah. Which the game has been out for, was it a year or so on PC? It's still in early access. I don't think it's going to actually fully release on Xbox until maybe summer is my guess.
Yeah, it'll be a while.
It's going to be a while, and they need to work out all these kinks, because when they said that this is going to be exclusive to Xbox One X, which I think is going to be a timed exclusivity, when they said it was going to be exclusive to Xbox One, immediately I was thinking they better do this right. This is a game that so many people are behind, and there's so much buzz behind, that if someone's first time playing this game, their first impressions of this game are subpar, then you're gonna lose an audience, which is what's gonna happen to people who have not played it on PC but tried it on their Xbox, which is it's really unfortunate. But that's about all we have for the gaming news this week. Join us next week where we have a little bit better audio and a little bit better video, and let us know in the comments what game you're excited about that's still in preview that may or may not ever come out.
And fun. Just as a heads up for next week, as you noticed, the news was super slow this week. It will probably continue to be slow until after the holidays. So if there's really not any news, we'll probably just come on, say Merry Christmas, and head out like we did last year. But we will bring you any news that we find, and I hope you have a happy and safe holidays. We will see you next time.
Have fun.
Thanks for watching This Week in Our Collective Heads. Subscribe over here and click the bell, and that way you'll know about any new videos that we put up, because we put up a lot of gameplay, a lot of stories from games and stuff like that, and gameplay is down here.
Yeah, and you got more editorials and news stuff down here. Check it out.